The information provided on this show does not, and is not intended to, constitute legal advice. Instead, all information on this show is for general informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for legal advice, and we recommend viewers consult an attorney for specific legal matters.
Good morning. Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs. We are live on our YouTube channel, and I'm Karen Curtis with attorney Eric Glazer. And we're here every Sunday at 11 a.m. like usual for over like 15 years to tell you anything. You can ask any questions about anything making your life in your condominium or HOA absolutely crazy from one minute to the next. And we're really happy to be here, supported by our wonderful sponsors who are truly the best. They offer the best services in South Florida, including our diamond sponsor, Best Roofing. And Eric Glazer, of course, is board certified in community association law by the Florida Bar. And there's only a handful of attorneys that are board certified, by the way. And he has a law firm right here in Fort Lauderdale and another one in Orlando. And it's called Glazer and Sachs. And we're here each week again to answer your calls and questions for any issues that you have. There's a lot going on in condos and HOAs these days. The number to call is 717-452-9378. That actually is 717-GLAZER8 with a Z. And you can also ask us questions in the chat box. Sometimes people call us and then they also ask us questions in the chat box.
Feel free, keep it coming. Get the phone lines lit up. Good morning, everybody. If you're a fan of the show, don't forget to subscribe to two things. Number one, like we said, the Condo Craze and HOAs channel on YouTube, where you don't just have to watch the show live. We built up an amazing library of basically any topic you can think of. And, of course, subscribe to our email list by going to condocrazeandhoas.com, by joining our email list. You're going to get announcements about the show, our seminars, changes in the law, all kinds of things. And our list just continues to grow and grow. And don't forget, we're on socials as well.
Yes, we're on the socials. We're back on TikTok, I guess. Apple, Spotify, Twitter, which is X, Facebook. You can follow us there. Of course, you can please hit the bell and subscribe to our YouTube channel here as well.
Yeah, had a attendee at the seminar this week say that when she gets in the car, she loves to listen to us on Spotify.
Oh, we're on Spotify.
Yeah,
we're probably on all the platforms, aren't we, Robert?
That's because Robert set that up. All right. We also do a blog every Monday morning at www.condocrazeandhoas.com/blog. Again, condocrazeandhoas.com/blog. I think we have about 600 different topics on there that you could search, by the way, by going to our website. And, of course, I just want to thank the nearly 400 people this week that showed up for the Condo Craze board certification class on Tuesday at the Broward Convention Center. A fantastic, crazy turnout. Everybody really seemed to enjoy it. It was my honor and pleasure to be with everybody and teach everybody. A million say hello to you.
Oh, hello.
I can tell you that. And there's still a bunch of classes that lie ahead in the next month or two. I guess we restart this thing. Thank God I have a little bit of break for the next month. Like March, we're off, and then we go back to this in April. And a little later in the show, we'll go over that schedule so everybody can sign up for the April classes. And education.
And you were able to give everybody their certificate? I know that's been like, there's so many people.
See that man over there?
Yeah, I see it.
He developed a system where, I don't know, telepathically they get it now. I don't know how he does it. But he developed a system.
He's working with Elon with Neuralink.
It's printed in advance and everything is in alphabetical order. So now they just show up and forget it. It's fantastic. Really great system.
What a great idea.
We will never have a problem with that ever again. So it's really all fantastic.
Glazer, Sachs, and Listman.
Yeah, exactly. So education is what I want to talk about today. And all of you know that for more than a decade, I fought vigorously to make condo and HOA education mandatory for all directors.
Which, some directors, you think you know everything, you've been on the board forever, and you don't need it. You do need it.
Those are the ones I want going, believe me.
Exactly, because then you get new people on, and they've taken the course, and they know more than you do.
Exactly.
So
right.
I believe you, and you said that when the law allowing you to get certified by attending an educational class was passed, it only allowed for condominium educational classes and not for
HOA members,
the HOA
right?
members.
With only
But you have HOA members that come.
now, yes,
teach
because
it.
now it's mandatory. But originally, when this whole thing was passed way back when, only condo members had the right to go. So the law really has evolved over the years. And you'll see at first education was for condo directors only. You could get certified by taking an educational class or by signing that silly self-serving form that says you've read your governing documents.
Even if you haven't.
Even if you haven't, right, exactly. Then I flew up to Tallahassee and got a bill passed that required HOA directors to get certified, but they still had the opportunity to get certified by taking a class or signing the form. So there was correct, or signing the form. But at least finally, at that time, we had education for HOA members, at least going way back.
But of course, after the Surfside tragedy, and we're all glad that the Florida legislature came around and made mandatory education the law, because the more you know, the more information you have, it's less likely these things will happen,
No
right?
question, no question. I believe that with all of my heart.
I do too.
Yeah, that condos and HOAs stay out of trouble, stay out of potential tragedy with the more education you have.
I mean, I know these are volunteer positions and that, you're not, this is not your livelihood, but
you're taking on serious responsibility.
It's a major responsibility.
No doubt about it. And, now you can no longer get certified by signing the form only. Now you have to do both if you're a condo member, right?
Okay.
For whatever reason, though, you no longer have to sign the form if you're an HOA member. You don't have to sign the form, but you have to take the educational class. But for a condo, you still have to do both, sign the form and take the class.
And is that legally binding? When you sign that form, if you haven't actually done it, is that perjury?
You got to swear to the state that you've done so.
Okay.
So
it's not like signing that affidavit.
That form, no, it wasn't correct. But now you got to certify to the state. And if you're lying on the state form, because of perjury, yeah, potentially.
All right, so why is, though, that you believe that there have always been those people who fought mandatory education for directors, whether it be for condominium or HOAs? Why would they fight it?
Why would they fight it? Most of the time, the argument was that if you're going to require members of a board to take educational training, it's going to deter residents of condos from serving on a board of directors. And the thinking was, it's already hard enough to find volunteers to serve on a board of directors. The job doesn't pay any money, as we know, and if we force everybody to take a class, rest assured, nobody's ever going to come out and volunteer to serve. So that was always the thinking.
That's such a silly argument, isn't it? It's a silly argument.
I certainly
I mean, judging by the numbers, it was a bad argument.
I agree. Over the past 2 weeks, I've had the greatest participation that I've ever had. We taught classes all over the state. It was standing room only. It was a mob scene at some of these, and not once, not one time, did any participant complain about the fact that education was mandatory and they're pissed off that they had to be there today.
Because I have to
Not one person out of thousands that showed up. I didn't hear a complaint from one person that they were upset that they had to be there today. Not
and in the
one
exit
time.
surveys, what did they say? It still could be longer?
Wish it was longer.
Oh my gosh.
That was the biggest complaint. Why'd we stop at 4 hours now? Can you believe it? I mean, truth be told, I could go on. There's so much to teach.
Of course.
I can go on for days. I really can go on for days. But, we stopped at 4 hours, but no complaints. Believe me, no complaints whatsoever.
Yeah,
I would tell, everybody knows I'm honest about the show. I would tell you if I had people complaining that they're pissed off now that they have to go attend this class, I would say it.
Of course you would.
Nope, absolutely nobody. Everybody's very happy to
You're
attend.
a rock star now.
Yeah,
you love it.
That's what they tell me.
And now every law even requires mandatory education to continue every year.
Yeah.
It's not just one and done anymore.
And every participant was eager to know right there and then.
When can I do it
When
again?
can I do it? When can I take these continuing education classes? And the bottom line is the people who are on the board who really care about what they do, they can't get enough of it and they want more. That's the bottom line.
Actually, the more you know, the easier your job is doing it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Of course, absolutely.
It's just, it makes it so much easier.
Yes, and I've always said this. even the people who are not on the board, the the residents, the unit owners who live in either a condo or HOA, when they walk out, you know how many say to me, I had no idea how many things my board members needed to know.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think they have more appreciation for what their volunteers do.
You said the whole boards watch the show together.
Yeah, that's great too, which is really nice to know. I've been told many times, hey, our board gets together as a group on Sunday and watches the show.
So good.
And that's really flattering. I appreciate
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Also, it seems clear that the people that serve on association boards are not looking for an easy way out. I mean,
No,
they're
not.
showing up and they're doing the work.
If they were looking for an easy way out, they could have stayed off the board, right? They could have made complaints like everybody else, right? Bitched about everything and anything. And instead, they volunteered because they care about their communities. They want to make them better by knowing the laws that they need to know. That's the bottom line. They really care.
It's not that they're there to be condo commandos and to be in charge of it.
Absolutely
No,
not.
because this is really a different role. If you're on there for that, you're in the wrong place.
Listen, after the
right?
collapse in Champlain Towers, yeah. You're now on a board because you want to avoid problems in your community.
Not be the head honcho.
Right.
Right.
It's different now.
So do any other states require board members to take an educational class? Is Florida like the first one?
I believe Florida is only one of 2 states that require board members to take an educational class to be on the board. That's why I'm really proud of this.
Yeah.
This new law that we passed down here. And trust me, we're on the right side of the law on this one. I really believe that. Just ask the attendees who aren't able to find a seat. Okay? Believe me. Yeah. But let's hear what our viewers have to say. Give us a call here in the studio. 717-GLAZER-8. Again, 717-GLAZER-8. Again, 717-452-9378. I'd really love to hear from anybody who was at one of the seminars in the past week or two. That would be great. Call in, let us know what you thought. And, of course, you can also drop us a question or comment in the chat box on YouTube. We will be back right after this.
There are very large management companies, and there are very small management companies. And I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs here on our YouTube channel. Karen Curtis, attorney Eric Glazer. He's the man with all the answers to your questions. Give us a call here if you have a question about your condo or HOA. It's 717-452-9378. Someone asked, should condo buyers also take a course so they know what they're going to get into before they get into the condo? And you said...
Yeah, if they had to take the course and find out what they're getting into, they're not going to buy. That's the reality
Don't
of it.
teach them.
Well, on that note, though, it is now required that they get, full disclosure of everything that they're buying into. They're entitled to get the last structural integrity reserve study, all the inspection reports, etc. So they know exactly what they're buying, what the condition of the property is, etc. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, so you're
And
not
they need
buying
to
into
understand
something.
that, though.
Right. And you're not saying, $25,000 special assessment. What did I do? You should know if you're about to buy into something like that. At least your broker should help you.
Well,
So
don't
there's
they
no
have to make an
surprises.
agreement? The broker has to agree.
That the documents
sign
were
a-
turned
yeah.
over to you. Yes, absolutely.
But before they show the house, the realtor has to have an agreement signed with the client that they are going to tell them about it.
That they're going to turn over the
Yeah.
documents. Yes. So there's absolutely requirements of the agent now as well.
Yeah.
And if the agent fails to disclose, let's say, hidden defects in the property, the agent can be held on the hook as well.
Oof.
So be careful, agents. Here's an interesting one that's just catching my eye from the board. Davey 2020 writes in, I live in a condo and the elevator has been out of service for 5 months. Is there a legitimate excuse for this taking so long? No, I can't imagine for any reason whatsoever that an elevator could be out for 5 months. I will tell you that as an elevator gets older, and we hear this a lot, sometimes it's hard to get parts.
The parts, but it's
Yes.
expensive too.
Okay, but once an elevator gets to the point that I'm sorry, you have to wait 5 months to get parts, then guess what? It's time to get a new elevator. Go for a new, a new elevator, new company, whatever you got to do. Because for an elevator to be out 5 months, absolutely no excuse for that.
Especially
period.
if you have people that have to take it. They're
You
disabled.
hear horror stories of people who live on a second and third
Yeah.
floor that have no ability to go out and go
Yeah.
shopping. So let me tell you something. If I was representing any one of them,
Oh.
you can rest assured I'm suing the building to make these repairs.
You think the elevator's expensive?
Right, exactly. Let me tell you, there's a condo law right on point that makes it very clear when a common element breaks down, there is an absolute immediate obligation to fix it. So no, for something to go on for 5 months, absolutely no excuse. I wouldn't stand for it. If that
a long time.
happened in a building where a parent of mine was located, they're getting sued.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, Don said that his board gets together and watches your show, but it's a meeting, isn't it?
Well,
And
not
it
for
violates-
educational purposes,
Okay.
I don't believe. I don't know. That's a great question. I got to look that up. No. Well, for example, if the board came to one of my seminars, right, the whole board.
Is that a meeting?
No, it's
Okay.
not. I'd love your whole building to come, don't
Yeah,
get me wrong.
yeah.
But no, I don't. That's not considered a meeting. Who's our first caller?
Let's go to Joe. Looks like Boynton Beach.
How are you, Joe?
Good morning, Eric and Karen.
Good morning.
My question is about HOAs and clubs. Does an HOA have to authorize for a club to be in existence, such as a computer club? And if it does have to authorize it, are financial statements due annually?
Okay,
Ask
so
the Mahjong women.
right. You should beat the crap out of those Mahjong. No, I'm kidding. Take it easy. No. So, remember we had the Mahjong club here from years ago? The sheriff raided them and all that? That was crazy.
They were betting $10.
Anyway, there's a actually good case. I think it's an arbitration case that basically says a separate club is a separate club. You cannot require, the association can't require financials from them. The association can't require that they ask you for permission to operate. It's an absolute separate entity. Leave the clubs alone. And again, as you start seeing, especially the new laws, it's that club is not bothering you. They're not doing anything. They have some women playing mahjong, men's playing cards, and they're entertaining themselves, whatever. Leave them alone. The association has nothing to do with them. You can't ask them for money. You can't ask to know about their financials. And they're a separate entity. They have nothing to do with the association. And if anybody wants to see that, I know I wrote a blog about that at one time. So you can go on the Condo Craze and HOAs website, type in the word club, and up will come the blog that we wrote about.
Boom.
Okay? Yeah, instantaneously. Who else we got, Rob?
Sorry, Joe, if we missed you, try to call it back. Did we cut him off? Let's go to
Okay.
Janet from Tampa.
Hey, Janet.
Hi, good morning. So my question is, we're an HOA, and we just recently signed with a new management company about 3 or 4 months ago. So homeowners are requesting records, current records, nothing going back, current financials, delinquency report, invoices, and they're sending it in writing, and this Florida statute I read says within 10 days they should receive it. We're going on 2 weeks. Some homeowners are going on over a month, and the property manager is just ignoring the requests. Can we as homeowners go to the state, since the property manager is state licensed, and file a complaint, or what can the homeowners do to get these reports that the statute says we should have within 10 days?
Well,
thank you.
The answer to that is yes. There's a provision of Florida Statute 468 that requires the manager to comply with the 718 laws. So the answer is yes, but you got to ask your board, why is this happening with a new management company? Is the new management company going to say the records weren't turned over to them? That's a very common excuse, and maybe that's true. Now, the difference with the new laws is it's not enough for a community association manager to say, I don't have it. I just don't have it. I can't give you what I don't have. Now, under the new laws, the manager has to give you a checklist of what they're turning over and what they're not turning over. And if they're supposed to have a document and they don't have it, they have to show that they made a good faith effort to get that document now. So in other words, let's say someone comes in and says, remember, you're supposed to have official records for 7 years. So let's say somebody comes in and says, I want the insurance policy from 2020. Right? They're supposed to have that.
It's in that window.
It's in that window, exactly.
Right.
So it's not enough to
Well,
say.
she's not claiming she doesn't have it. She's just ignoring all of the requests. She's not even responding to the homeowners, and
Okay.
that's where we're at now.
So why are people waiting to file an arbitration case and get access to these records? Or that's.
So do you think the state would help us if we went to the Department of Business and Professional and filed a complaint as homeowners? Would they?
Is this in a condo or an HOA?
I asked them, and they said they only get involved in elections. They don't help with anything
Wait.
else. So we wanted to see if there's somebody else.
So hold on. This is for an HOA.
Okay. HOA. Uh-huh.
So yeah, they're not going to get
HOA.
involved. That's right. They do only get involved in elections. So for an HOA, you would have to you can do 2 things. Yes, you can file your complaint against the manager. That's one way to go. I'm not suggesting that you do that. But the other way to go is you'd have to file a request for pre-suit mediation. And if you look in Florida Statute 720, there's a whole section for pre-suit mediation. And basically, it's a long letter that you got to send to the association saying, you failed to turn over records timely, and because you didn't turn over records timely, I want to sue pre-suit mediation against you. Here are 5.
Now, do we need to hire an attorney to do that, or the homeowners can do that without
gotta let
an
me
attorney?
finish.
Or how
Rob,
does that
turn
work?
her down. Turn her down. Okay. So how it works is everybody wants to get the question. Let me finish, and I will. Believe me, by now I anticipated your questions. Okay. So. No, you don't have to do it with an attorney. Are you better off with an attorney? Of course. Is the other side going to have an attorney? Absolutely. Well, unquestionably, when you get to that mediation, the associations are going to be represented by an attorney.
And you're going to win this one, so your attorney's fees will be covered.
If you win this one, right, you get all your attorney's fees and costs back.
But likely they will win it, right? Don't you think?
If they can prove that they asked for it in writing and they didn't get it back and didn't get access to the records, the answer is yes. Okay? So in that letter, you have to list 5 different mediators and what their rates are. And the other side has to choose one of the 5 that you select. Okay? If they choose it, you both go to pre-suit mediation and you try to work out your differences before a arbitration or lawsuit is filed. If they ignore you, okay, here's where they get in trouble.
I won't be ignored.
I won't be ignored. So typically what happens, you always bust me up with that stuff from my cousin Vinny. So if they ignore you, right, typically when you go to litigation or arbitration against an association, and if they beat you, right, they get their prevailing party attorney's fees and costs. But because they ignored you now and they don't choose one of the 5 mediators from there, then their penalty is if they do beat you eventually, they don't get their fees and costs. So it's almost a good thing if they ignore you,
Ignore you.
because the risk of you going forward becomes really none. Okay? Back to the phones.
All right, let's go to, it looks like Marcia.
Marcia?
Marcia.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we certainly do.
Good morning. I am in a 20-unit condo in Tampa, and our financial receipts require that we file a compilation report.
Okay?
For the last 2 years, this has not been done, so we reported our condo to the state. My question is this. If this year, 2025 fiscal year, we have a vote to prepare a lesser report than a compilation, then in the following fiscal year, can we do the same thing, or is it every other year?
I believe it's every other year. Now, I got to check the statute. I'll try to do so during the break. And remember, if you want to take that vote to waive a type of year-end financial report for a specific year, it's got to be taken in that year. So if you want to waive the report, let's say for 2024, too late, because you needed to take that vote in 2024. Now, you said you complained to the state.
We had an annual meeting, and they tried to push through a vote, and we all stood up and said, you can't vote for something outside the fiscal year, and you can't vote for something that's not on the agenda.
Okay, you said you complained to the state. Does that mean the DBPR?
Yes.
Okay, I'll tell you this, generally speaking. If someone makes a complaint to the DBPR about their board failed to do this, or their board failed to do that, if that board never got in trouble before, that association never got in trouble before, the DBPR, to their credit, they really don't want to hurt that board. They'd rather teach that board. I think that's a great thing. There's an exception to that, and the exception to that is exactly what our caller was talking about, and it's failing to timely file, prepare your year-end financial report and let the owners know that it's ready. Why? Because if you don't do that timely, that's like a signal and a half.
There's a problem.
Wait a minute. What in the world are they trying to hide financially from the owners?
That's like the one thing that they have to do.
One thing that they
If you
take
had one
really,
thing to do.
if there's one thing that they will not joke about, they will take really seriously, it's failing to do your year-end financial report. And I agree with them on that. You can't let an association get away with that, because if you do, you're allowing potentially you're allowing theft to continue at an association. So I'm in total agreement with how the DBPR does that. I think they do a great job on it. So, I know that you want to waive it for this coming year, but I think it's equally as important to make sure that you get the financial report for the preceding 2 years that you didn't get.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give up on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what we're pushing for. And the prior accountant, before they changed accounting firms, currently we have an owner who's also the treasurer on the board doing all the finances, which we all have a serious problem with, but we're trying to figure out how to combat that.
I agree.
Yes,
it should be totally independent.
And 24.
Yeah, it should be someone who's totally independent. Okay, totally agree with you.
And the board has the power to change that.
Absolutely, and they
take
should.
that away.
Yep.
That power away.
Well, it's the president's mother.
No conflict there.
Therein lies the rub.
Yeah, does the president's mother have a new Cadillac?
Yeah, we have, in all seriousness, we have a very serious situation going on, and 7 out of 20 of us see it, but the other 13 don't. We've tried to get a recall. We don't have enough votes. We have one lady who took him to court over a whole other issue. She won. Another lady's taken him to court over ADA accommodation claim, and another one's taken him to court over verbal harassment. We have a lot of things going on. So many of us, though, are concerned about the financial issues.
This is a lot for a 20-unit condo. These things oftentimes don't even happen in a 300-unit condo.
I think it's called Peyton Place.
Yeah, right? I mean, this is a lot going on for 20 units. So
Yes,
I-
we
yeah, I
we
think
think so too, and we're really trying to find some way to get the president's mother off of the books.
it's
But
crazy.
we've read through the statutes, and the only thing we think we may be able to do is to file a claim with the insurance company, because I guess there should be segregation of duties between, when you're in charge of the finances, there should be
Of
some type
course.
of segregation of duties
Yeah.
between the person who reconciles the bank accounts, signs the
Right.
checks.
That's why I
She
said
does it
independent.
all.
Right. They're not going to get involved unless money was stolen now.
But you can't
So-
figure it out because
Yeah,
they have
no, I
they can't
understand.
see it.
But I
That
doubt.
seems-
I
Well,
doubt they're
well,
going to get involved.
we're thinking fraudulent application, because I remember seeing one time on the application whereby you had to state that the person who does the books has an adequate segregation of duties,
That's
and there
interesting.
are some kind
That's
of
very
controls
interesting.
in place.
You know what? That's interesting.
Good one.
Didn't think of it that way. Whatever it is, I wish you only the best of luck on that. Okay. And I'd expect an
Thank
answer
you.
from the DBPR. I really would. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, thanks for listening. Let's do this. Good calls to start the morning. Taking your calls, 717-452-9378. Again, 717-452-9378. Keep them coming in. Or drop us a question in the chat box. We will be back right after this.
For mitigation after a catastrophic event, building restoration, repair and remediation consulting, or Senate Bill 4D inspections, please visit rimkiss.com.
All over the world, people have plumbing problems. These problems can be expensive and destructive to fix. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to take care of your plumbing problems without destruction and an outrageous price tag? Welcome to Pipelining Technologies, Inc., where we specialize in fixing your problems without demolition and minimum cutting by means of pipelining. Pipelining is the ability to take a pipe damaged by root intrusion or long-term deterioration and make it new. By means of inserting an epoxy-saturated liner into the pipe and allowing it to harden or cure, leaving behind a brand new pipe.
That sounds great. How can I get pipelining in my home, commercial building, or condominium?
Simply fill out our online contact form and a pipelining representative will get in touch with you in a timely fashion, or call us directly at 561-853-5463.
Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs here on our YouTube channel. Karen Curtis with attorney Eric Glazer taking your questions. If you want to give us a call or ask us in the chat box, 717-452-9378. That's 717-GLAZER8. And Eric has been busy with
Yeah.
his teaching his seminars.
It's been a crazy month, the start of the show talking about education and just what an amazing turnout we had in the last month. So we got a month off, thank God, right? With March, we're not going to be doing any. But if you need to take the course, here we go. And remember, if you don't take the course within 90 days of getting on the board, you are automatically off the board. So here we go. Next
Even if
class,
they sign the affidavit.
Even in a condo, you got to do both.
Okay.
Remember that, okay? So next class, April 3rd, L&L Condo and HOA Expo, back at the Broward Convention Center.
And everything starts at 8 a.m. April
Yes.
16th. You've paid your taxes. Now you can go learn about your condo.
Very next day.
Hello Now Condo and
Yes.
HOA Expo, Tampa Bay Convention Center.
A couple of days later, April 22nd, the L&L Condo and HOA Expo, 8 a.m., Palm Beach Convention Center, and then we end at
Orlando, May 14th, L&L Condo and HOA. That's at the Orange County Convention Center, and you teach everything from, oh my gosh, new safety inspection, reserve funding laws, and importance of the from time to time language, documents that govern your community collections, responsibilities. Food is served. It's free. You'll love it. He does a 4-hour gig.
Yep. You know, it's amazing how many people come to me now with, well, based upon what you taught us about the as amended from time to time language.
Oh my God, they're quoting
I'm
you.
like, these freaking people became professors. Yeah, I'm really, really honored.
They're
that
retaining.
they certainly are retaining. Yeah, and
More
it's
than
an honor
water.
to hear them engage in conversation with me about it. It's awesome.
You know, I'm noticing though that usually you do this one time a year.
You got to understand.
Now you
there's
are like
more courses than
Yeah.
ever. because there's more people interested
Sure.
than ever. Yeah, so it's awesome. I really
I
look
love
forward
it.
to seeing everybody. Everybody knows
You
how much
invented it.
I like to be there. So I will see you in April. To register, just go to condocrazeandhoas.com. Click on the seminar tab. Rob made it really easy for you to register. We know about it in advance. So again, condocrazeandhoas.com. All right.
Can I ask you, when you first invented the course, did you ever think it would come to
No, not as big as this. It really got creative. And of course, in all candor, now that education is mandatory, you know, it's really obviously bigger than ever.
But you started doing this, what, 17 years ago, just to help condos?
It has to be about 17 years ago because remember, we did this before even it was available to HOA members, like we said in the beginning. So it's a long time.
It's been a long time since we've done this show.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's go back to the board for a second. Let's see what people are writing in. There was more condo people than HOA people. It was all great. As you said, I can be the president of your fan club. Thank you, 1126 Fidel. And he meant it. I met him there, and this gentleman was he really wanted to be appointed the president of the fan club right then and there. We're taking applications.
He said, you taught us about Kaufman language. It really helped our condo.
I thank you very much. I'm glad you did. All right, back to the phones, Rob.
Let's go to Miami with Richard.
How are you, Rich?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for this show. It has become my Sunday morning ritual, so I deeply appreciate it.
That's more than flattering. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I have a quick question regarding term limits for board members. Our board terms begin in May for 12 months. We have 2 board members that have been active consecutively since before 2018. My understanding is that their terms would be ending now in either 2025 or 2026, depending on our term. Could you enlighten me more about that? We have, in addition to that, there's a lot of apathy here, so they capitalize on that. And typically, if somebody drops out, they will assign people that are amenable to their policies and so forth. So it's hard to get on the board here.
Okay.
For these conditions.
Okay, so let me answer your question on this because there's been a lot of confusion about this. So yes, for condos only, starting in 2026, there's a new law that goes into effect that says you only can have 8 consecutive years in a row. And once you hit 8 consecutive years in a row, and again, the first year starts in 2018. You start counting year 1 in 2018. So then it's 8 years. And once you've hit that, right, the only way you get on the board is if the 2/3 of the community, 2/3 of the voters vote for that person. 2/3 of the voters vote for that person. If they don't get on unless there is apathy, that there's not enough people running for the spots. Then that person can get on. Okay, so that's the new law. Now, the law also provides that the association can put in their own documents term limits. So let's say in your condominium you wanted to have 3-year term limits, 4-year term limits. The unit owners can get together, amend their documents, and put that in there. Perfectly legal. Okay, perfectly legal. But the law now says, okay, 8 years maximum. Okay, so the first time we're going to deal with that is next year. We're going to deal with it
because he's saying 2019, 2018.
2018, correct.
Yeah,
It was the first year. So 2018 is the first year we're going to count. Okay? Hope that answers your question.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for spending your Sundays with us. Really appreciate it.
So it's brunch. It's brunch with
with Eric and Cameron and Rob. That's right. Okay, who else we got?
I don't believe the caller left their name. If you hear a beep, you're live, and I believe from Fort Myers.
Okay, Fort Myers, you're there.
Beep.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. We have been flooded now 3 years in a row with the beginning of Ian, and we are researching to put in flood control can the whole association contribute to that, or do individual owners on the first floor have to contribute to that?
I would think that anything that you're going to do for flood control is going to be requiring changes to the common elements, right?
Right.
Yes.
Right. So
that's correct.
Right. So since it's going to be changes to the common elements, it would be my thinking that you would need probably 3/4. I mean, I don't know what your documents say, but probably you would need 3/4 of the community to vote in favor of it, right? And you never know how those people on the second floor
They could
might
give a rip
feel. Maybe
snort.
they couldn't care, right? And then, however, the question then becomes is, wait a minute, if the board does this, is it considered a repair? Is it considered a way to prevent property damage in the future? And
What about
if
a safety?
so,
It's safety.
issue. So then is a vote required in any event? So I don't know if I can give you an answer to that question without doing some research on the matter. Again, my first gut feeling is yes, it's a material change to a common element. It would require a vote. But before I gave you a definitive on that, I'd want to do some research and say, wait a minute, suppose we're doing this to prevent big damage to the common element, to units and common elements going forward.
And I think FEMA won't give you any money unless you mitigate that problem.
Yeah. I'm sorry?
That's what we want to do, because now we're afraid we keep having claims, we're going to lose our association insurance.
That could be very well possible. So has the association gotten an opinion from counsel for the association?
He doesn't know because it's new. This is something new. So we did ask the attorney, and he was wishy-washy.
Well,
so I would hire you if you can help me determine what we need to do.
But are you near the water? How tall is your building? Have you done your Sears? Because that may all be involved in that.
That's a great question, Karen.
They may be a moot
here's
point.
The deal. We're only 2 stories.
Okay, so you don't need Sears reserves. Interesting.
And we're probably 5 feet from the water.
Right.
And our seawall will only handle about 5 feet.
That was my next question. What's going on with the seawall?
Yeah. And it comes down to, we take care of the roof. Well, the first floor doesn't need a roof. So I think I've been on the board 13 years, and I believe that this is association together. We all have to pay, just like we all pay for
and
the
I'm
roof.
not doubting that. I'm not doubting that. It's just I'd want to find you a legal opinion.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Are you trying to raise the height of your seawall?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
Sure.
What, Eric?
Are you trying to raise the height of your seawall?
Do you own the seawall?
Well, yes and no. The department came in and said that we have to rent the docks now. So if we do that, if we raise the seawall, it could affect our rental of the docks.
So you don't own that. You just rent it.
Wait, do you own the docks that you are renting out? I'm a little confused.
Yeah, we own the docks. However, we don't supposedly own the land underneath the water.
So you probably have the submerged land lease, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot to know about that, okay? So in all candor, you need to hire an attorney who knows something about this and can give you a legal opinion and review your submerged land lease. Okay, there's a lot to know here.
Okay.
So you got to take a look at that. You got to take you got to look at the opinions of arbitrators on whether or not modifications to the seawall are considered material alterations.
Or
a lot
part
to
of
know.
the submerged
it's
land
going to require.
lease.
Yes.
We own the seawall,
Okay.
and
Right.
I have even redid the seawall when I was president
Right.
without a vote. I mean, that was maintenance.
Right, of
And
course.
we have to do something.
I understand
These
because you don't
units
want
can't keep
this
getting
happening
hit.
year after year.
It's insanity
I
over
got
and
you.
over.
I got you. Okay. Now I don't. You know, you might. You're not going to lose your flood insurance, but you might lose. You know, other property damage insurance as a result of just continuing to do things the same way year in and year out. So, hey, you know, if you'd like an opinion from our office, 954-983-1112. Again, 954-983-1112, Glazer and Sachs, okay? I wish you only the best, and thanks
All
for
right.
tuning in on Sunday.
All right. Thank you so
got it.
much.
Be well. All right, who else we got, Rob?
All right, next caller, Naomi.
How are you, Naomi?
Where are you calling from?
Hi. Thank you for the wonderful job you do for us.
Thank you so much.
My question is, we just recently had an annual meeting, and we were supposed to have it in the clubhouse, but the manager did not reserve the clubhouse, so we couldn't do that. So within the hour of the meeting, we received the emails and people telling us, go to the pool, bring your chair because the meeting is not going to happen here. Is that appropriate to change the venue within hours from the meeting?
So it's funny because I had a situation like that not too long ago. We had the annual meeting that was supposed to be by the pool area, right? And if I tell you right before the meeting was supposed to start at 7 o'clock at night, I'm talking about like 10 to 7, all hell broke loose, the sky let open, and it was raining like a typical Florida hurricane. I mean, crazy, right? We had such a devoted president that the president went to the pool area. He knew that this could be a potential problem, and he stood at the pool area till like 10 after 7, directing people to his home.
Oh my God.
We're having he videoed it, showing what time it was. Look, it's 10 after 7, and I'm still out here, and still directing people to my home, and then he went to his home. Is that a perfectly fine meeting for me? Absolutely. Right. I have no problem with that being the meeting taking place that way. As long as if someone was there at the time scheduled and they directed somebody to, 50 feet away, 100 feet away, just go over into that room. I got no problem
But
with
why
it.
would the manager not reserve the clubhouse?
I have no idea. Why would the manager not give you access to records, right?
Because we have lawsuits going on. We have a lot of trouble here. The manager wasn't really a good manager, and he left because he had been arrested for taking money before. So we're in a very, very difficult situation. So when that happened, I mean, that's exactly what happened.
Hold on.
Wait,
stop. This is funny because she said he left
because he was arrested.
Because he got caught stealing money. Wouldn't you rather hear he got fired because he got caught stealing money? It seems like he left on his own volition.
But is he back?
Because he wanted to leave. Maybe because this association ran out of money for them to steal. Doesn't it sound a little weird? Not that the board fired him because he got caught stealing money. He left after taking money.
So not reserving the clubhouse is like a minor detail for this guy.
You think? Yeah. Listen, I apologize, but we ran really, really, really late for this break. So we got to take our final break of the hour. Taking your calls and comments, everybody. What's the freaking number here? 717-452-9378. 717-452-9378. Back right after this.
Do you know what you're doing?
No, I don't.
In South Florida, the transition from bright sunshine to heavy rain and hurricanes can take a toll on your property's exterior and structural integrity. Cracked stucco, spalled concrete, they're more than eyesores. They can signal deeper issues. Now, with new Florida laws involving structural integrity requirements, we want to help you meet your milestone inspections and maintain the durability and beauty of your building. Since 2004, PD has been the trusted expert in structural concrete restoration, painting, and waterproofing for condominiums and commercial properties. Visit pd-concrete.com or call us today.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
Welcome back to the final segment of Condo Craze and HOAs here on our YouTube channel. We've got several people on hold, want to ask Eric a question, and also in the chat box as well.
Yeah, good comments in the chat box. Eric writes in, he says, I keep taking classes even if I had certifications. Love it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure Eric, and I know Eric is a bright guy, really bright guy.
And you're not talking about yourself.
No, I'm not talking about myself. But because I know he feels he learns something every single time, even if it's from not just from me, from another member of the audience. And I feel I always learn from members of the audience as well. So believe me, you're not just learning from me, I'm learning from all of you. Next, who we got?
Let's go to Kathy in Fort Myers.
Kathy, how are you?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure thing. How can we
And
help,
thank you
Kathy?
very much for this show. I
Thank
don't know
you.
what I would do as a board president under duress without you guys.
Thank you so much.
I have one question for you. We're on the water, and I want to know, can we mandate? We have all 17 units that were flooded 3 times ready to commit to flood mitigation stuff.
Yeah.
The technology is wonderful that's available. But I have 2 owners in one building that are refusing to do it. Can I mandate as a board, can the association mandate that these owners buy into the flood prevention technology, the flood dams that we all want to buy?
So that's kind of like the question that
And
we
it's
were
Fort
talking
Myers
about
again.
before.
Are you in the same building?
These types of questions are going to
Yeah,
come
Fort
from...
Myers is hell.
Well, yeah, these type of questions are going to come from the West Coast.
Yeah.
And often do come to the West Coast like crazy, because the West Coast has been absolutely battered.
Because they're on the Gulf of America.
Yeah, they're on the Gulf of America now, exactly. So,
And here's the problem. We have 17 owners willing to do it, and I have 2 that cannot or do not want to.
Now, explain to me,
that
because
will affect an entire one whole building will
Right.
be
But if you
affected
vote,
because
have a
they're
vote.
not going to do it.
Well, let me ask you something, and I'm asking out of ignorance, quite frankly. I'm not embarrassed to admit that.
Yeah,
What are
okay.
these flood dams that you're talking about? Explain it to me.
They are a system there are brackets that would go on the outside of the building, and then there are planks to simplify it
Okay.
that go inside. And it was used in Naples with great success and other parts of the country. And, you know, we've just been researching many, many different systems, and this one really looks like it could help us profoundly.
Okay, so...
But we've got 2 buildings that have all committed, and only 3 owners out of 5 in another. And that
Are all
means
these
that
are all
some
these
of us
units
will
on the
be
ground
impacted.
floor? Are all these units on the ground floor?
Yes, they're all on the ground floor. There were 19 units that were impacted 3 times.
So my gut feeling is, and again, I don't like shooting from the hip. Quite frankly, I like to give you a case that says it. But my gut feeling is, you're getting battered by hurricane after hurricane. You don't have to sit back and just take it every time. As a board, I think you have the right to say, you know what? We're going to do something. We're going to take some concerted effort to prevent this type of damage from happening continually and from
Yes.
destroying the
And
units.
protect the property.
Right. But it does no good if only 17 of 19 do it, because that could still cause flooding. So you either have to do all of it, or it's as if you've done none of it, is the way I'm hearing. So my opinion is I would have no problem. I don't know if it's considered a change in the common elements if you allowed all these dams to go in to prevent future damage to the building. And I don't think, again, my gut feeling is telling me no problem. But before I gave you such an opinion, yes, I'd want to do some research on some arbitration opinions that would back up my statement.
So I guess the people holding art are hoping everyone else pays for it and they get the advantage of it.
Right, exactly. And they get, but no, I think you'd be able to make the change, include it in your budget, or pass a special assessment and force it on everybody, because you have a right and you have an obligation, not just a right, an obligation to protect your own building.
So
and you don't have to sit back and take damage year after year after year.
But you're only charging the 19 on the bottom floor?
No, everybody would have to pay. There's no question everybody would have to pay.
Everybody would have to pay.
No question about it. And again, my gut feeling is yes. I don't know if it's considered, I don't think it would be considered a common element, because you have the right to use new technology. There's cases that say that too, to use new technology to prevent damage from happening to your building. If I had to guess before writing an opinion, and again, you know, not embarrassed to say you got to do the research on this one, but yes, you can do it, and you should have a legal opinion backed up before you do it. Okay?
And we can mandate it. I did get a legal opinion, and he said he felt we needed a vote.
Okay. And again, that may very well be the case. But again,
and the vote would be in your favor, it sounds like.
Well, not really, because if we did a vote, the only way to mandate it all done, and the two people that don't want to do it, maybe it's a hardship for them. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but do
I
your
would like
documents
to assume that.
Do your documents
But
say
if
you
they
need
don't
3
do
quarters?
it, they ruin one whole building. The other two buildings are all in agreement.
Okay, well, you know, I need to know ultimately what the final numbers would be, but I'm not so sure that you would need a vote of the community to do it if the idea is to prevent catastrophic damage to your building year after year after year. Okay?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, let us know. If you need our help, give us a call, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Who do we got, Rob?
All right, next caller, hard to pronounce. West Palm Beach, you're live if you hear a beep. If you could state your
West
name.
Palm.
Hello?
Yes, how are you?
Am I on?
Yes, you are. Good morning.
Good morning. I have some questions about board members that do not own the property. They are not on the deed. They are saying that they're in a trust, and that they do not live on the property either.
Okay, so that's interesting. So it's a complicated statute, yeah. So first of all,
They don't have to live there.
we got to see. Well, it depends upon the statute. First of all, we got to see what your governing documents say. Does it even say that you have to be an owner to be on the board? That's the first thing. Okay? And if you do, let's assume you do, there's a statute that talks about trusts, and it says and it's not found in 718, it's found in 617, which is the corporation statute, that says if the declaration of condominium or in a condominium setting, right, when you're choosing your board of directors, if a unit is owned in a trust, the beneficiary of the trust or the grantor of the trust can serve on the board of directors if they also reside in the condominium.
Oh.
So it's a complicated statute. So I hope you got that. So if they're if they're the grantor, if they're the settler of the trust or the beneficiary of the trust, then yes, they get to be on the board if they live in the unit. Now, if your declaration or bylaws don't even require that, then they could still be on the board anyway. Okay? So I hope that answers your question. Complicated statute, and I know sometimes people look and they can't find it, and the reason is they're looking in the wrong place. You have to
Okay,
look
so
in Florida statute 617 for that answer. Okay?
Okay, one other question, real quick. ESA animals, do they have to go through an attorney to get permission
Absolutely
to
not.
have it?
No.
I didn't hear.
No, the answer is not. They don't have to go through an attorney. You mean the person that wants the animal? They absolutely do not
Well,
need an attorney.
when we put in a request and the paperwork, they want more details on the paperwork from the doctor, and now they're sending it to an attorney to get it approved.
Okay, so you can talk about this topic forever, as you know, but bottom line is when a person submits a request to have an emotional support animal, the association cannot do two things. They cannot specifically ask for medical records.
Right, HIPAA.
And they cannot specifically ask for owners to fill out a specific form, okay? Both of that violates the law. What they can ask for is reliable documentation showing that there's a need for the emotional support animal.
A letter from the doctor.
You can't ask for that specifically, though. You can ask for reliable documentation showing that you have a need for the emotional support animal, right? And how the emotional support animal helps you and assists you in using and enjoying the dwelling, okay? You can ask for that.
Yeah.
Other than that, you better be careful of what you wish for, because if you ask for too much, that's going to get the association sued. So that's all they can ask for. Be careful. We instruct our associations all the time. Be careful of asking for too much, because if you do ask for too much, you're going to find yourself as a defendant in a federal courtroom and not where you want to be. Okay? And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the close of another great episode today of Condo Craze and HOAs. Really had a nice time. Thanks for all the comments about our seminars. Don't forget
Emotional support animals.
And we know you need emotional support. So don't forget to sign up for our seminars at condocrazeandhoas.com. And if you need legal help off the air, give Glazer and Sachs a call, 954-983-1112. Again, 954-983-1112. And we'll see you again next Sunday at 11 a.m. on Condo Craze and HOAs.com. Thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Eric.
Hey, thanks,
Robert.
Rob. Okay, take care, guys.